Hello, this is Gregory Becker, and this is Week 1, Module 2 of Developing the Risk Management Plan with Expert Judgment. In this module, we will look at the infamous iron triangle of projects: cost, schedule, and scope, and we'll talk about how risk management thinking can facilitate our planning to make sure things either don't go wrong, or if they do, how to mitigate them. So let's get going.
If I were a business executive or maybe a gambler like our friend here on the left-hand side, I'd be concerned about two kinds of risks. I'd be concerned about things that can go wrong, right? Those are things that in the trade we call pure risks. Pure risks are things that never go right, they only go wrong. But I'd also be concerned maybe about opportunities, that is, things that can go right. In project risk management, however, we mostly focus on things that can go wrong. Things that can go right are more an investment kind of opportunity. In project management, we normally think of risk as a combination of two things: of the chance that something adverse might happen, and the consequence in cost or schedule or scope or quality if that thing that might go wrong does happen. Now, the probabilities that we assign to risks may be vague. They may be based on historical data, that's quite good, but usually they're not. They might be based on subject matter expert opinion. They might be based on our own subjective opinions. Similarly, the consequences, the cost, the schedules, or the scope slips that might accrue given that something goes wrong, those things may also be uncertain. And we're going to develop probabilistic models for handling with that. If we return to the iron triangle of PM that we talked about in the last module, projects are forced to deal with budget, schedule, scope, and quality. And each of these things may be uncertain at the start of the project, and each are subject to things that might go wrong. At the end of the project, they will have turned out one way or the other, and they're no longer uncertain. But at the start of the project, this is never true. At the start of the project, we face risks with respect to all of those things. So first of all, a project may be over budget, like the projects on the left here in this little chart, showing a variety of mostly European mega transport projects over the last century. And you can see that a lot of projects, in fact, on average, just about all of these large projects were above their project cost, some of them by quite a lot. The other thing is that projects might be delayed, right? There might be slip in the schedule. Slip happens for a variety of reasons. Some of these things we control, some of these things we can't. And then the project has to adhere to some scope. It has to deliver on the requirements that are specified in the project definition. And the deliverables have to be of good quality. So one risk is, of course, that the work may not be of sufficient quality.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying this free lesson from the University of Maryland's Project Management Center for Excellence. If you want to check out more lessons just like this one, click the link in the description below where you'll be able to go to our website on executive project management. There, you can find edX courses, professional short courses where you can learn from an instructor like me, as well as request custom team training for you and your organization. All right, let's get back to the lesson, and I'll see you at the end.
Well, what is risk? I've looked up, as my students sometimes do, I've looked up the definition of risk in a variety of dictionaries, and here's what those variety of dictionaries say. Risk is the possibility of suffering a harm or a loss. Well, that makes sense. Risk is the danger or the probability of loss to an insurer. Well, I may have an insurer, but I'm more worried about the project manager. Risk may be the variety of returns from an investment, and we can think of a project as an investment. Certainly it is by the owner. Or it might be the chance or the lack of a chance or the chance of non-repayment of a debt, sort of like an investment. And if you look at these four definitions, they all involve ideas that are represented there on the left-hand side in that little flow chart. All of these definitions involve something that is either a possibility, a probability, a chance, a variability. All of them have something to do with things which are uncertain. And in blue here, all of them have to do with something that is a harm, a loss, a variability of returns, a chance of non-payment. So all of them have to do with consequence. So if again you look at the chart there on the left-hand side, on the far left, uncertainty about things that might happen and how big consequences would be go to probabilities. And the impacts, the harm, the loss, the variability goes to associate with the consequence. And those two things, probability and consequence, become our risk. So what's a risk? It's the probability that something goes wrong multiplied by the consequence if it does. And that consequence on projects is going to be cost or budget. It's going to be schedule or time to project completion. It's going to be the quality and our meeting the scope, the deliverable requirements. And as insurance people or actuaries might say, in project management, we normally talk about the risk as the product of the probability that something goes wrong and the consequence in cost, schedule, or quality if that adverse thing does happen. So what then is project management? Well, project management is an approach to the life cycle of a project. It starts by identifying things that might go wrong, things that will become risks in what we ultimately create as a risk register, a list of things that might go wrong. That's followed by an analysis or an assessment of how likely the various things that might go wrong are and how they might go wrong and what's the consequences. And then we evaluate the chances of them going wrong and how consequential they are. And we put in place ways to monitor the project to see if those things start to go wrong or to assure ourselves that they are not. And if any of those things do start to go wrong, to figure out how to control them. And like so many things in projects, this is a continuous, dynamic, living idea. And next, we're going to show how we can identify project uncertainties and put them in with this risk management framework.
Hey there, did you enjoy that lesson as much as I did? If you did, go ahead and give us a like. If you want to see another one, go ahead and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, put them below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Moreover, is there somebody in your life who really needs this lesson right now? If so, go ahead and share it with them. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Now, we look forward to seeing you in the next lesson where you can learn even more from the University of Maryland Project Management Center for Excellence. Thanks so much.